Station, this is Houston. Are you ready for the event?
Houston Station, we are ready.
Houston ACR, this is Mission Control Houston. Please call station for a voice check.
Station, this is Houston ACR. How do you hear me?
International Space Station has you loud and clear.
Please stand by for opening remarks.
Hello, my name is Drew Shreve, and I am one of the STEM teachers here at Glen Oak High School. The STEM Academy, Glen Oak High School, and Plain Local would like to say thank you to NASA for providing this once-in-a-lifetime opportunity to our students. In attendance today are current and former Glen Oak High School STEM students, students of Plain Local and Glen Oak High School, as well as potentially students around Stark County, Ohio. As children, many of us gaze into the sky with wonder, and today we get to ask questions to those who walk amongst the stars. Without further ado, here's our first question.
Hello, my name is Jace. How long does it take from the launch to get to the space station? What do you do during this time?
Hi, Jace. Welcome aboard the International Space Station. It takes however long it takes to get to the space station, and what I mean is that it could take as short as a couple of hours, like some of the Soyuz flights. And I think we set a record on our Dragon flight to get to the space station in only 14 hours. So it really depends on where the space station is and when we launch. But I'll tell you what, just to get from Earth to space takes less than 10 minutes. It's amazing.
Hello, my name is Yanni. What is the biggest adjustment for you during the first few days on the space station?
There are a lot of different things to adjust to. One of the biggest ones I noticed is you're switching from a training environment you've been practicing for so many years into finally actually doing the mission. There are also a lot of things that happen to our bodies. Your fluids all start to re-equilibrate throughout your body, and so you feel like you have a really puffy face for a while. Your inner ear is adjusting to being weightless. It's a really different environment, and you've got to adjust to your spine elongating in the first couple days. So there are a lot of changes that happen when you first get to space.
Hi, my name is Levi, and I wanted to ask, what are some of the most exciting experiments that are being done on the space station currently?
Hey, Levi. I think Zena and I both agree they're all exciting. We do experiments aboard the space station to make life better on planet Earth, and also to set ourselves up so that we understand things better so we can explore the rest of the solar system, Moon, Mars, and beyond. So some of the things I'm really excited about are 3D printing. We have a metal 3D printer. We also have bioprinting for bioengineering, where we're actually working on implantable devices, as well as stem cells and printing of materials so that we can grow multicellular kind of things like organs, like we have a liver cell experiment coming up. It's all super exciting and making a nice way for the future.
Hi, my name is Michael, and would a paper airplane still generate lift on its wings in the space station?
Well, let's find out. Our crewmates Johnny and Kimia hooked us up with a nice paper airplane here. Aerodynamic lift requires an atmosphere, and luckily we do have an atmosphere on the inside of the space station. It's pressurized on the inside, just like a commercial aircraft would be, and so that's why we can be here in short sleeves instead of a spacesuit.
Hello, my name is Sophia. With the space station being exposed to a wide range of temperatures, does thermal expansion and contraction cause issues?
Hey, Sophia. It sounds like you're a budding aerospace engineer or material scientist. We do worry about that. We go from negative 250 degrees to positive 250 degrees, all within 90 minutes, within one orbit. So metal, as you know, can expand and contract with that temperature difference. So we protect it. First off, we choose metals that don't expand and contract too much, that won't have that problem. Secondly, we put a passive thermal protection around the space station. Sometimes it's these blankets that have a little bit of vacuum in between, so they're a great insulator. And sometimes we just use a shiny white paint or even just a sharp metallic surface. That's why we don't have too many spaceships that are black or anything like that, because that'll really affect the thermal properties of materials. Great question.
Hi, my name is Maya. Do convection currents occur in the space station due to uneven heating?
Yeah, that's a great question, too. Convection really requires buoyancy, and we don't really experience that here since everything is in free fall all the time. So pockets of air, whether that's warm air or cold air or a bubble of carbon dioxide from breathing or a fart that your crewmate just let out, they all kind of stay put in one place. And so that's why we use a lot of fans to keep our air circulating for hopefully obvious reasons.
Hi, my name is Morgan. Is it easier to notice the gravitational pull between smaller objects in space than on Earth?
Well, on the outside of space station, maybe, but on the inside of space station, not at all, because we have a lot of fans moving things around. First off, gravity is the weakest force, yet it's the thing that kind of controls all the known universe that we know about right now. So things like this, even though we are in microgravity, my hand isn't attracting it too much. Yes, I have non-attractive hands. But what really is affecting things on the inside are air currents. On the outside, it really is just a factor of velocity, because we're going wicked fast at 17,500 miles an hour right now.
Hi, my name is Cole. How are oxygen levels maintained since all astronauts are exhaling carbon dioxide?
We need two things here. We need one way to remove carbon dioxide and then separately a way to generate oxygen. Luckily, we have both of those things here. We have a lot of different technologies that are able to scrub carbon dioxide from the air that we breathe. And then we have our oxygen generation system, which actually takes water from the atmosphere in here, whether that's humidity or sweat or urine, and then splits it through electrolysis into hydrogen and oxygen.
Hi, my name is Brennan. My question for you guys is, do metals oxidize in space?
Hey, Brennan. For oxidation, you need oxygen, right? So inside the space station, we have O2. And that's really good because it helps us breathe. But also, it could oxidize metals on the inside. But we have a lot of ways to prevent against that. Outside the space station, solar radiation actually splits oxygen apart, and we have monatomic oxygen, which is really cool, except it can't oxidize things. So we actually, to understand that better for long-term spaceships or other satellites or something, we have materials on the ISS experiment, MISSY, and we expose different materials to the outside of space and see what the effects are.
Hello, my name is Ian. Does microgravity affect chemical reaction?
Ooh, kind of, in the sense that here in orbit, we experience all of the same math and physics and chemistry and biology that is true on the ground on Earth. It's all the same. But which processes dominate is what's different. And so we talked about convection earlier. Without density-driven processes or convection, smaller processes that are harder to observe on Earth can be dominant. So this is things like surface tension or diffusion or static electricity. This makes it a really great environment to study processes that are really hard to observe on the Earth.
My name is Eli. How is the living environment temperature maintained?
Hey, Eli. Earlier, I answered a question about on the outside of space station, right? It gets really hot, really cold. On the inside, we keep it a steady 74 degrees Fahrenheit or almost 24 degrees Celsius. And we do that because we have an active thermal control system. It's kind of like an air conditioner, where we take the heat generated on the inside of space station and we actually run it through a heat exchanger, and that heat exchanger takes the heat outside of the space station and radiates it with these huge white radiators on the outside of the space station. So we actually maintain a very calm, cool, collected, very boring atmosphere on the inside. Well, not so boring, but certainly temperature constant.
Hi, my name is Nico, and my question is, since up is relative, in which direction do plants grow?
I love this question. It's all relative, you're right. But again, the similar things that happen to plants on Earth happen here. So plants on Earth, the leafy portion of the plant tends to grow towards sunlight, and the same thing happens up here. If you try to grow a plant, the leaves will grow towards whatever light source you have. The roots are trying to grow towards water, and so we have the same kind of effect here that you might see in the forest if a tree is growing up and then it has to go over to the side to reach the sunlight. You can see similar things here, but we can grow plants on the ceiling or on the walls or on the floor, and they'll all grow towards the light.
Hi, my name is Lila. Are you able to 3D print on the space station? If so, are there any challenges? What do you print?
Hey, Lila, that's a really good question. I bet you probably have a makerspace or have seen 3D printing. You may even have one at home. I know I do. And I like 3D printing. Aboard the space station, we have some 3D printers. We have one that does kind of the standard plastic, and then we also have a metal 3D printer. Now, that's the good news. The bad news is that the people on the ground get to have all the fun with the printing. We don't get to print so much. They keep us busy doing other things because they can do that on the ground. So, yeah, we don't have a makerspace up here, yet a lot of things get made. But I hope you investigate 3D printing in your career, too, because it's definitely a very much neat thing for the future and really can help humans.
Hello, my name is Xander. Have there been any interesting findings from the bone study?
Yeah, some of the studies on how our bones are affected by microgravity are super interesting and really relevant to people back on Earth, since as astronauts we're experiencing a lot of the same effects as osteoporotic populations on the ground are experiencing. So we've gotten to take a look at how different vitamins or supplements that we can take can mitigate some of that calcium leaching into our bloodstream, and also how exercise, especially resistive exercise or high impact exercise, can help us prevent bone density loss.
Hi, my name is Kyle. Thinking about Newton's third law of motion, what happens when you sneeze in microgravity?
Well, Kyle, let's find out. Achoo! Not very much. It was kind of propulsive, but not really too much. And I was free-floating. I wasn't even holding myself down. So sneezes and other bodily emissions really aren't so propulsive, which is too bad because it makes fun a lot of things for cartoons. But Newton's third law is really important. That's what why we're understanding how to keep our orbit here in space and how to send our friends to the moon, hopefully next year, and back.
Hi, my name is Kason. Do you guys have breaks? What is the form of entertainment? Is there Netflix or YouTube up there?
Yeah, thankfully we do get breaks, and so do the teams on the ground who are working mostly around the clock to keep us safe. Up here, we usually get Sundays off, and we're working most days from about 7 a.m. to 7 p.m., but we can take time off in the evening, especially to share a meal. We do have satellite-based internet. It's not great enough to stream a movie, but I'd rather be looking out the window.
Hi, my name is Brooklyn. Is there an increased exposure to electromagnetic radiation on the space station?
Hey, Brooklyn. That's a very important question. So there are different kinds of radiation. Electromagnetic radiation are photons, like lights and X-rays. It's all the same thing. Maxwell showed that in the past, right? But our electromagnetic radiation exposure is pretty much the same as it is on planet Earth. But there's other kind of radiation too, such as galactic cosmic rays and alpha and beta radiation from the sun, things like that. And that we do get a little bit more. We're not as protected by the Earth's atmosphere. We are very protected, though, by the Van Allen radiation belts, which are like 3,000 to 6,000 miles around planet Earth. But we do get more radiation from things, galactic cosmic rays. And sometimes when you're sleeping or have your eyes closed, you can see a flash go across, and it's actually kind of cool, but it's also like, wow, I wonder where that came from.
Hi, my name is Liam. How is trash disposed of on the space station?
Hey, Liam, it depends what kind of trash we're talking about. There's a lot of different kinds of waste. Some we're able to recycle here, and that includes even recycling urine and sweat into really pure drinking water. Other things we have to send home to the ground. These are really useful for helping us figure out maybe why a piece of equipment wasn't working the way it was supposed to. And then the rest that we don't need on the ground and we can't recycle up here, we actually put in a cargo vehicle and it burns up in the atmosphere. So next time you see a shooting star, you can wonder where it came from.
Hi, my name is William. How does the space station avoid other satellites orbiting Earth?
Hey, William, that is a great question. So first off, there are a lot of satellites at different altitudes around planet Earth. And sometimes even satellites don't even go in they go in orbits, but they're not circular orbits. We maintain a circular orbit roughly about 250 miles above planet Earth. And yes, there are satellites and other things that are there too. So we have a lot of friends on the ground that monitor and know where everything is and know where we are. They can predict the orbits, and if there's going to be a collision or a potential collision, we avoid it. We usually do that by changing our orbit slightly, and then we'll miss it. So we have a debris avoidance maneuver programmed, available to us, and it takes just about 45 minutes to half an hour, and we can move out of the way of things.
Hi, my name is Hannah. What is the biggest thing in space that you did not think that you would have to deal with?
This guy, am I right? I'm just kidding. There's so many different little things that you don't expect. One of the first things I noticed when I got here was how much the tops of my feet got sore. And that's because in order to stay put, we have to hook our feet into these little handrails. And for the first couple of days, that was a total adjustment. By the end of a mission, you usually wind up with calluses on the tops of your feet rather than the bottoms. I thought that was very interesting.
Hi, my name is Sophia. What are the biggest challenges when conducting a spacewalk? And do all members of the crew do spacewalks?
Yeah, it's really incredible to put on a big suit and pressurize and go outside and nothing between you and the rest of the cosmos except your faceplate and the suit, and you're just your own little space station, your own little spaceship, and it's a really amazing experience. But it's really hard to move against the pressure. It takes a lot of physical effort. We have to train for it and train a lot for it underwater, because that's the best way to that we can know on planet Earth to train for spacewalks off of planet Earth. They're pretty tough. But the things that we learn about how to be weightless, by the time we get to a spacewalk, we're good to go. Most astronauts do get a chance to spacewalk, but not all of us. It's sometimes the luck of the draw, and we do what the mission needs, but we're pretty much all trained for spacewalks, and we're all ready to go at any time.
Hi,
Mike's
my
too
name is
humble
Charlie.
to say it, but he's done
What
9
are the different
spacewalks
jobs
already.
on the space station?
Hey, Charlie, great question. We all do a little bit of everything. So even though we might have different assignments for the vehicle, the rocket that takes us up to the space station, once we get here, we have a space station commander. And then for the other half of the space station, we might have a lead for certain things. but everybody is doing all of the work all of the time. So 1 hour you might be working on an electrical problem or a plumbing problem. The next hour you're working on a scientific experiment. It's really cool to get to share the work that way.
Wow, Eagle Nation, that was awesome. Hi, my name's Dave Limbaugh, and I'm one of the STEM teachers here at Glen Oak High School. On behalf of the students and the staff, we would like to extend our appreciation to all the members of NASA and our new friends flying high in the skies above us. Thank you for inspiring us to reach for the stars. Go Eagles!
Thank you all for the really great questions. We loved answering these.
Go Eagles!
Station, this is Houston ACR. Thank you. That concludes our event.
Thank you to all participants. Station, we are now resuming operational audio communications.